Brian Burke has been kind enough to join us. Are you all about if a goalie gets a shutout the one night, you got to run him in the next night?
Yes. Yes, not this time of year. I prefer the coaches to have the goalie schedule mapped out in advance.
Okay.
So it's all got to be now. You got to hit your targets for how many starts you want the backup to have, how many starts you want your starter to have. If you're fighting for your life, you might have to vary that. But that plan's usually done a couple weeks in advance.
Right.
But otherwise, yeah, hot goalie gets a net back.
So would it be out of the earlier in the show, I was wondering aloud if perhaps they scheduled it so that Hellebuck would get Anaheim and not have to go into Vegas because they're trying to build his confidence up for the postseason. Is that something that management would look to do to make sure that a guy was going at the right time?
Not exactly. Not management, the coaches.
Yeah.
But yes, it may seem kind of cowardly and kind of unfair to the backup, but absolutely what you just described happens. Let's give this guy the game we have the best chance to win, and then if the other guy gets shelled, that's why he's the backup.
Yeah, that's why he's the backup. Someone tell Garrett Sparks that. In the Western Conference, let's stick in the West. I'm not going to bring up the Leafs. I know everyone wants to bring up the Leafs. I'm going to spare Brian Burke the Leafs until the end. All right, I don't want to do this now. Let's talk Western Conference. Who's got an easier road right now, do you think, to a Stanley Cup final? Winnipeg or Calgary, if such a thing exists in that playoff structure?
Well, and you guys know I don't like the playoff structure. I don't think it's equitable. I think it should be changed. So it's 1 versus 8 and 2 versus 7, and it should be reseeded each time. I mean, whoever gets home ice right through is going to get the best draw if you finish.
You think it's that important? You think it's that important?
Oh yeah, so you look at this. Okay, so you look right now. Who in their right mind would want to play Phoenix right now, or Arizona, whatever they call them now? But on the other hand, if it's them or San Jose, yeah, I'll take my chances with Arizona. So I don't think the system is fair, but this is the system we have, and that's fine. A good team is going out hard and fast and early on both sides.
Yeah, on both the East and the West.
Yeah.
Are you surprised at how well Calgary is? I mean, you saw the build up close and personal, but I don't know if many people were picking them to be first in the West. Are you surprised at how well they're playing?
Yes, and I think it's a couple things. One, when you talk about a team you work for, people think you're trying to take credit for it. I think the thing that put them over the top was the trade that I had absolutely nothing to do with, which was the trade with Carolina. Mm-hmm. And Brad Treliving went out and got, that trade has put them over the top. Now, by the way, that trade's worked out beautifully for Carolina as well.
Yeah.
But that and the play of Mark Giordano has been, in my mind, he should win the Norris Trophy. And he's been a difference maker to me. He's just been unbelievable this year. So those two things, I think. But yes, I'm surprised. Anyone who tells you they picked them to finish first is a liar.
So when we turn to the postseason, Mike Smith is a starter, right?
Mike Smith is a starter, right? Here's the two issues. Okay, one issue is who stops more pucks? Mm-hmm. And right now, David Riddick probably has earned that right to say, I've stopped more pucks. The difference is, when Smitty plays, it's like having 3 defensemen on the ice. Yeah. Your D don't get hit nearly as much. David Riddick is good with the puck. Mike Smith is a wizard with the puck. Now, about once every 90 minutes or so, he gives you a heart attack. But he keeps the defenseman from getting hit all the time. He gets to every dump in, stops it, makes a good outlet pass. So it takes wear and tear off your D. So you got to weigh that in there too. It's not just who stops the most pucks.
Right.
This guy reduces wear and tear on the defense.
Sorry, I'm going to ask one more.
Yeah, go ahead, jump in.
One's a UFA, one's an RFA. Does that factor into what Calgary has to take into consideration in the postseason, or is it just who's playing the best?
Win, baby, win.
Okay. Baby, win. Yep. Is it tougher to start Smith and then make a change if you have to make it, or does it matter either way? Would you rather maybe go Riddick and then it's easier if you got to make a change? Hopefully you don't have to. But is it tougher to take Mike Smith out of that if he starts in postseason and struggles?
I think that's a fair question on any other team. But these two goalies are close, and they're both professional. Yeah. Like if you went to Smitty and said, we're starting you, but you're on a short leash, and you had to yank him, he'd come out without saying a word. He'd say to Riddick, good luck. Same with Riddick. So I think these two get along great. They're both great people. I don't think that's an issue.
Fair enough. The Leafs. In your time as a GM and an executive in this league, did you ever have a coach talk about depth publicly? And if they did, how did you handle it?
I had a way worse experience than Kyle Dubas.
Do tell, sir.
Mike Keenan pulled our goalie when we were playing at Maple Leaf Gardens before I was traded Pavel Bure. He took him out, and it wasn't a delayed penalty, and it wasn't with a minute left in the game, trying to embarrass me into making the Bure trade. So what Mike Babcock is perceived as doing is pretty tame in my book. And I do think, I said this earlier, it borders on insubordination, and it's an appropriate discussion. The ironic thing is, Mike might be right here. Like, I've been critical of the Leafs for not addressing the depth issue. Mike might have the right dog in this fight.
But do you do it
Here's
public?
the issue.
Do you do it
There's
publicly?
two issues. Do you do it now, and do you do it publicly? And the answer is no and never.
Right.
What about before the deadline? Can you do that before
No.
the deadline?
But
No,
Babcock.
you go in the GM. The GM and the coach talk all the time. The coach comes in your office and says, "Can we get Dave Nonis? Can we get Mike Smith? Can we get David Jones?" He comes in all the time and talks to you. You have those discussions, and you say to him, "Who don't you like? Who do you think is bringing us down? Who would you like me to move?" It's entirely appropriate for Mike Babcock to have opinions on players. Right. It's inappropriate to bring them out publicly. And now they're getting ready for the playoffs. He just told half a dozen players on his team they're not good enough. The hell is that?
So he would have broached that topic in those talks before he brought it to the media.
Yes.
Yeah. The one thing that I'm really curious of, because you've been critical of the Toronto media in the past for making mountains out of molehills, is this one of those where you think that the story's been blown out of proportion, or is there something really there where this topic was broached for a reason?
So here, I don't think Mike, I think Mike is a smart guy, and I think Mike is capable of doing something like that. I think he wants to win. I think all he was doing was saying, some other teams have responded to injuries better than we have. Yeah. Their depth has stepped up, ours hasn't. I think it was that innocent.
That simple? Yeah.
People are jumping on me saying, oh yeah, Mike's trying to get this. So I think you assume good intentions when you can. The problem with the Toronto media is there's so many of them.
Right.
And they all are looking for a different angle. And so the minute I saw that, I was like, same as when Garrett Sparks said what
Moths
he said.
to a flame.
That's from Garrett Sparks. That's a kid talking from the heart.
Right.
Was it a smart comment? No.
Right.
Should he have said it? No. Will he do it again? Probably not. But that wasn't a kid whining and being a jerk. It's a kid talking emotionally after a game.
Well, that was what I said to Kipper. He came in here on Monday, and I said, like, this is the type of stuff that will test more Kyle Dubas than Mike Babcock, because Babcock's been around the block. But these kind of things for a GM in Toronto where he hasn't said a thing, and he's been the topic of conversation for 3 days.
It's a minefield where you can't possibly know where the mines are. Yeah. Sometimes you step on a mine even when you say the right thing.
Right.
Because someone in the media is going to grab. I'm not saying this critically. This is their job.
Right.
But this is how it goes. It's like in Calgary, after practice, our guys have 15 guys in the dressing room, 15 men and women.
Yeah.
It's 45 to 60 here on a non-game day. It's 60 or 75 on a game day.
Members of the media.
You
Yeah.
can't even walk through that dressing room.
Right.
Now, Garrett Sparks makes his comment. In Calgary, he probably gets away with that. Is there any way he's getting away with that in this market? There's at least 10 people going to throw grenades at him within the next 30 minutes.
Right. And some of them might be sitting at this desk.
Well, for the record, I said leave him alone. He's a kid.
You did not.
No, I didn't.
I didn't come close to say. Do you like this jacket?
On you, yes.
Wow.
You wouldn't wear this on Scotiabank Wednesday Night Hockey with Fridge and Mac.
I wouldn't wear that if someone paid me a lot of money. But on you, it looks nice.
Looks fantastic.
Because you wear stuff like that.
Okay, on Twitter, ask Brian to wear my jacket. It would be an honor. Thanks, Brian.
Coming up next, thank you, as always.